why you are in a situationship and how you can turn it around. Hello, my name is Chengi, and you, my precious one, of course, are my world. Welcome to Chengi's World. If you're new to my channel, do not forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment, and know that you are always very, very welcome. If you're used to coming back to my channel and you're a new subby, hello, please introduce yourself in the comment section so we can get to know each other. And of course, follow me on my Instagram, Chengi's World, Facebook, Chengi's World, and join Chengi's Angels or my mentoring club, which is a group coaching club for women on Facebook, where myself and my coach Shani and coach Rena go on there live every week, answering your questions, helping you with all of your dating dilemmas in that special group. If you'd like to know more about that, follow the link in the description below. Okie dokie. Enough of the housekeeping. So I want to talk to you today about situationships, and I'm just going to be looking at my notes because there's so much that I want to be able to say to you and not forget, because it's really important that I'm able to break this down for you, because a lot of what entraps us is stuff stuck in our subconscious mind, kind of running a little bit of a program. But the moment we're able to kind of pinpoint it, shine some light into that dark place, all of a sudden it kind of makes sense. We know what's going on and we have aha moments, and we can begin to navigate this space a little bit better. Because when you're in a situationship, you are really in a very dark place. You are feeling your way around. You are hoping to figure it out, but really it's a very difficult place to navigate because you're working with so little commitment and so little investment, yet it feels like it should be enough. So we're going to explore it, and first we're going to talk about why a situationship. Why would a guy, a man, not be willing to commit? First and foremost, let's define situationship. For those of you who've not heard what a situationship or don't know what it is, it's simply being in a relationship with a man that hasn't got a title, that isn't got a trajectory, it's not going anywhere, that is very, very unclear. You don't actually know if you're in a relationship or not. It looks like a relationship, smells like a relationship, but it's definitely not a relationship. You have no title, you have no rights, but it feels like it. So we're gonna go into more of the nitty-gritty along the way. So let's put it this way: you can't tell anybody he's your boyfriend because you don't know, and anytime you try to know, you are either kind of fobbed off, blown off, given an excuse. So you always never quite know. Really, every new dating situation is a situationship in that you're only getting to know one another. So ideally, you're really only in a situationship when you've been in a dating cycle that is not committed and has become physically intimate with no title, with no trajectory, after 3 months. I would say 3 months is a time that one can allow a certain degree of ambiguity. But if you're a high value girl and you've been following my channel for a long time, then we don't even have time for that. You ladies know that I teach you to state your standards from the gate so that you don't get your time wasted. But some of us are finding me a little bit later in the day. We're already in the throes of a situationship. We can feel one being proposed to us. So this video is for you. Okie dokie, let's get into why you might be in a situationship. One of the things might be low value behavior. Maybe you've been behaving low value. Maybe you met each other, he was really excited about you, and then he learned early on quite quickly that you're clingy, you're needy, you're thirsty, you're just a little bit low value. You'll kind of go along with anything, and maybe he was looking for something serious, but he's really not really into the kind of behavior. Maybe you snoop through his stuff and you stalk his stuff and you put kind of really revealing clothes, and you just kind of act a little bit low value. Tits are out, boobs are out, backside is out. I mean, you're just this girl that's pick me, maybe a little bit trashy, and it's all a bit. He was excited about you. He met you maybe at work when you were in uniform or whatever. You showed up on the date looking like a hoochie mama, and really he can't see wife out of this or girlfriend out of this, but you put out and you were not too bad, and actually turns out that you're actually quite sweet and you're actually quite lovely, but he's really not going to try and take you home to mama. There just isn't enough there. Okay, so low value behavior may have got you into a situationship. So he wants the perks of being with a pretty girl who's sexy, a little bit slutty, clingy. He can deal with that if he manages it, you a little bit better. And, he gets laid whenever he likes by a pretty nice girl who's sweet, cooks for him, does his laundry, that kind of low value stuff, right? Okay, and then of course, number 2, why too much masculine energy. Masculine energy women are great for situationships. Why are they great? Because they're happy to pay, they're happy to to give, protect, provide. He doesn't need to be a man around her. He just needs to show up and be ready to go. He's just got to show up, and you're quite happy to pick up the tab, quite happy to, entertain him at yours and get him whatever he needs to be comfy. You can afford, expensive lingerie. You can afford, you're good. You might even lend him some money. You're comfortable with being the lead and the masculine. You don't mind chasing him. He doesn't really have to put in the work because you are. You're gonna call him and make sure he's all right and take care of him. He's gonna get taken care of. Masculine women end up in situationship all the time. You also don't have a vulnerability about you. You're tough, so he kind of feels like she ain't gonna get hurt. She's not gonna get hurt, because you have a tough exterior. You've got this kind of down understanding and let the boy be a boy, and when he's around, just like being with one of the boys, because you like that, so he gets to be with the boy, except you've got different woman bits down there and he gets to play with them. Okay, so a lot of masculine energy women tend to find themselves in a situationship. If you want to know more about how to be more feminine and master your femininity so this doesn't happen to you, you can visit chengi'sworld.co.uk/shop, and then you can download my Feminine Mastery Masterclass. That will help you out. Okay, the next reason you are in a situationship is that's what he wanted. That's what he was on the market for. This guy was not shopping for anything permanent. He was not looking for an investment. He was just looking for a spend. He was looking for that's what he came for, a good time. And you thought that he wanted more and got yourself emotionally involved, but really he had no intention. He's not ready to be in a relationship. Number 4, he is probably with somebody else or pursuing somebody else that he really, really, really likes. You are kind of second runner up, but he kind of uses your energy to feel good about himself, to give him an ego stroke, so that every time he's rejected over there, he can always come to you for, an ego stroke, and you're going to make him feel special. Then when he's feeling pumped and feeling good, he can try again with the girl that he really wants, or, manage that relationship better, because maybe he's the beta in that relationship, but you make him feel like the alpha. You know what I mean? So there's usually somebody else that he actually wants, then, or he's actually married or in a relationship and you just don't know about it. Or he's a narcissist looking for supply. Narcissists are always looking for ways that they can supply their egos, supply their needs, and so you are just one of the factories, the manufacturers that give the narcissist what the supply he needs to keep going. Okay, and if you fall into the hands of a narcissist, may God be with you. Okay, and he is genuinely confused. There's something, he can't put his finger on it, doesn't quite know what it is, but you're just not the one, but he's not ready to let go of you. So he hasn't quite processed what's really going on. Doesn't make it any better, does not excuse him. High value women simply don't have time for confused men. So he might either be confused about how he feels about you, not quite sure. Sometimes he likes you, sometimes he doesn't. But that would probably fall in the first 2 categories. Either you are low value at times, sometimes you're high value, or you float in and out of your feminine and masculine energy. Sometimes you're feminine, sometimes you're masculine. So it kind of can create a bit of confusion in that dynamic for him. Last but definitely not least, he's broke. He cannot afford to actually maintain a real relationship. He's broke. Like, all he can afford to do is send you a few texts, show up for sex, or just, you know, he really cannot afford to take you out on dates. He can't afford to even consider a full-time relationship that might end in an engagement ring being bought and end in a marriage, because he's just not there financially. So he's gonna do the moonwalk, you know, like he's coming forward but he's actually moving back, you know what I mean? So you're gonna get some of that. Whatever the situation is, I need you to understand one thing. He is on a self-serving mission. Repeat after me. He is on a self-serving mission. Wherever he flows, or however you are misbehaving or not behaving, showing up or no showing up, his whole MO is serving himself. Okay, so that's just the why. Now, what are the dynamics of a situationship? Just so that you are clear that you are in one, or have been in one, or on the way to being one. It's always a one-way street. It's his way or the highway. You definitely feel like your needs, even when they're verbalized, even when you ask for your needs, as you know, I teach you ladies to ask for your needs, and I teach you in how to talk to men so they listen, again, in the shop. And you've kind of verbalized your needs. You would like to spend more time. You would like to get him known. You would like him to call you. And none of those needs are met. But his needs are perpetually being met by you. And you kind of feel like if you push the ticket, if you push your needs, you're going to lose him completely. This is the game he's playing. He knows you are emotionally invested. And this is where, when you're dating as a low value woman, you kind of jump in fast emotionally, but high value women have emotional intelligence. So look out for my masterclass in April on emotional mastery. So you didn't display any emotional intelligence, so he already intuitively knows that you're into him. No, you haven't told him how you feel about him, but men are highly intuitive, so he's already intuited that you are into him. And because he's not into you in the same way, for the same reasons, he is able to control the situation better. So he knows that the threat of him leaving is what's freaking you out and keeping you in his kind of web. It runs on ambiguity. You have to understand that for a situationship to serve the situationshipper, right? The situationshipper, now we're making up words at a whole different level. It has to operate in ambiguity. That is, then everything is implied, everything is implicit, but never explicit. Nothing is ever said. Everything is kind of left to your interpretation, and nothing is ever really said. And anytime you try to get clarity, and anytime you sat down with him and said, so what are we, where are we going, what's the situation? Now the what are we talk, really, if it's before 3 months, then it's, you know, it's a bit premature. If you did not set up the dating dynamic from hello and set your standards about what you were looking for and how you want to be treated, it's probably why you're now in a situationship. So really, you have to front load your standards and your boundaries, so you don't end up in a situationship. But you didn't do that. So now you're kind of in this neither here nor there space, kind of in this wishy-washy situation that you really can't. And anytime you try and get clarity, he finds a way of being busy, having a family situation. Whenever he feels you coming forward for clarity, and this is also energetically, he pulls away, gets busy. If you try and nail him down to a conversation, he will call you just before he has to pick up the kids, because it always has to be in such a way that you are always ambiguous. You get to say what you want to say, but and he kind of gives you, or he gives you, yeah, well, you know how I feel, I really like our interactions, I really like our time together. But he never actually says, of course you're my girlfriend, of course, you know, I thought you knew we were together. He will never ever clarify, because it doesn't suit his extraction plan. If he clarifies, then he has to follow through, so that's not going to work. So if he leaves you ambiguous, that's the best. Which of course ensues with confusion. Confusion is an atmosphere and environment that really suits the situationship. Confusion, being confused. You know, he calls you babe, baby, my love, but refuses to discuss what you are. So you feel a false sense of security, but never ever say to you, yeah, we're together, you're my girl, you're my woman, you're the one for me, I want to be with you. Like none of that. He's never going to say that. So you might be feeling a lot of confusion because you think he acts this way. You've met maybe some of his friends, but the ones that nobody really approves of. Never met his family, never met his real people. It's always just been friends. And if you've seen some of my other videos, men don't mind bringing their situationship around other men, because other men have a code where they don't tell on each other, and they don't snitch, and they don't judge when a man brings another woman into the situation. So his friends might even know that he's got a girlfriend, but they will welcome you and be sweet to you and kind to you and even nice to you and know your name and all these things, knowing full well that you're just the side chick or the situationship. Okay, so that's what brings the confusion to you. He never ever makes any promises about the future. He always avoids making promises or intuiting, or in reverse, he future fakes. So he gives you the impression that there's a future for you, and oh, you know, we'd have cute little babies, and oh yeah, I would love to have a little girl would be lovely, and yeah, I definitely want to get married, and you know, where would you get married? So he's kind of planting he's implying that he wants the same things as you, but he never says it's with you. It's just what he wants, and he knows it's what you want, so he's quite happy to go there. Then you just assume that your brain mixes it up together because you desperately want this situation, right? And then you think, yeah, we're an item. You cannot ever ask him for a date. The dates have to be on his watch. So you can't call him when you want him, need him. He's not there to help you with anything real. If your car, you know, died in the middle of nowhere, you know that he's the guy that you call, and he's like, oh, either doesn't pick up the phone, or kind of asks you to call RAC. It's not that he doesn't want to come and help you. He cannot establish the role of your protector in this relationship, because that then makes it a relationship. You know, he can't, if you're struggling with anything and you need his help, whether it might be financially, he's never going to offer it, even if he can, because he doesn't want to present as a provider, because all of those become relationship signals. So it's very important. He will actually leave you to rot in the middle of the night, in the middle of nowhere. Yes, girls, I know you're thinking, what? Yeah, he will. He'd rather you rot or lost your apartment, lost everything, just so that he can preserve the situation. Of course, he will have an excuse. My car is dead right now. My friend borrowed my car. I can't come over. If he's fairly decent, he might kind of send a cab. Oh, can you not get a cab? Just call an Uber and then call the RAC, whatever. Whatever, you know. He will never show up for you, and this is where a lot of you fall apart, because eventually life is going to happen to you. You're going to go through a bereavement. He's the guy that won't be there. He won't be there when your parents pass, or somebody close to you. He's just not that guy, and he is going to establish that. Yet it's confusing and when you are together, it's like there's nobody else in the world. It's just you and him. And when you make love, it's like you're an angel, and he's giving you the eye contact, and he's giving you that feeling that, oh my God, I am the most amazing woman. I'm the only woman in his life. He's very attentive, is very present. So it's very, very difficult for you to believe even some of the stuff that I'm saying. Now, why are you allowing yourself? You're smart, successful, educated, normally high value. Why would you allow yourself to be in this horrible situation? Well, number one, it's not because you are unworthy. It's because you have a need that you need to be met. Meets it. He's the guy who is providing that unmet need, and that unmet need is often something that relates to our childhood trauma. It's often something that, is about that unhealed, unaddressed childhood trauma, maybe abandonment. And so as a result, you cling and desire and want to be acknowledged and seen and heard, and he meets that need. When you are together, he really sees you, hears you, understands you, or he meets your sexual need, or he meets a financial need, but there is a need that he is meeting. And usually for you to stay in the web, it's usually an emotional need that you are not even aware of. You're not cognitive of it, so you are kind of playing along like a junkie, needing a hit, and you've kind of developed you self-regulating through this relationship. So you might be feeling low or down in this relationship. Every time you see him, your stomach flutters and you forget about whatever's happening in your life. So maybe you're using him as an escapist. Whatever the situation, it is working really well for him. Okay, now Chengi, how do I turn it around? Thank you for breaking it down, but how do I turn it around? Okay, first and foremost, just like any addict, the first step of the AA is for you to first recognize that you are an addict. What you first have to do is accept that this is a situationship. This is not a courtship or a dating situation that is leading to anything real. You have to say and be clear and certain that definitely, according to some of the things that Chengi'S said, I am in a situationship. This is what is going on. This is what is happening. I accept that I'm in a situationship and that this man hasn't got a future plan that includes me. And this man is using me and is on a self-serving mission. And at the end of this whole process, I am going to be the one hurt and broken and upset. And I am allowing it. There's some crappy, ugly stuff that we have to accept. We just have to point blank accept them. And once you accept it, you are then able to ask yourself the second question: what is the need he's meeting? What is the deep emotional need he is meeting? Where does that come from? Okay. Once you can figure out what the need is that he's meeting, then you can ask yourself, do I believe that I can find that this need can be met in more healthier ways, in more productive ways, in more ways that are mutually beneficial? If that need can, or if that need needs you to go to therapy, or that need needs you to hire a coach or do a course, then you need to take that step, because you're not gonna have the emotional ability, gravitas, and groundedness to do what you actually need to be able to do to turn a situationship around. Now, I believe that my principal belief is don't try and force things. My coaching style, my principles, and my beliefs about relationships is if it's right, it flows. Will there be hiccups and bumps along the way? Absolutely. If we're not very capable of dating wisely, are we going to meet bigger walls in the dating and courtship process? Of course, because it's ignorance. But by and large, there's a natural flow to a relationship. So if that's missing, it's usually is a sign that that is not the relationship for you, and therefore you should walk away. But I do understand that there are those very specific situations, and if you don't know if you're part of that specific situation or not, you can of course book a call with myself or any of my coaches on my website, chengi'sworld.co.uk/shop. And we'll be happy to work through that with you. But there are some situations that are really, like I said, a manifestation of low valueness or masculine energy or just wrong positioning on your part. And you could possibly, by tweaking it, change the game and actually allow him to see you for instance, if he's just genuinely confused about you, or you just, he really just doesn't know, or maybe he's comparing you to another woman, these things can be turned around. And so first you have to answer the 2 questions. And then the last question, the last thing that you will have to do is to be able to cut him off. You've got to cut off the supply. No one shifts and changes if the patterns continue. The ability to disrupt patterns, the ability to become unavailable, distant, and create space is what allows there to be clarity. Distance and space create clarity, and they also create a reattraction. They create mystery. And in the time that you have distanced yourself, it doesn't have to be a big announcement. It can just be, hey, I got a project that I'm working on myself. You don't need to tell him that. And I just need to take about 6 weeks out. 6 weeks is as long as it takes for a relationship to reset. So if you haven't spoken to somebody for 6 weeks, then when they come back into your life, it's a completely new relationship. And that is fundamental and key to changing and shifting a situationship, because you have to kill this particular relationship to create a new one. In those 6 weeks, you are going to reinvent yourself from within. You're going to do the Soulmate Attraction System course self-study on my website. You are going to do feminine mastery. You are going to hire a coach. You are going to do some healing inner work. You are going to do some stuff in those 6 weeks that will shift your energy. You're going to do some stuff that is going to create a shift in you, so that even in that time, you will find that he will be wanting to reach out and but you have to be able to politely blow him off until you have done the work and it's 6 weeks have gone by. Okay, it doesn't mean that you're rude, but if you give him a little bit of a warning, he knows you're off grid. So if you don't answer, you kind of told him, so you're not being rude. And let's say he gives you 400 phone calls, 10 of them, and text messages, you can say to him, hey, I'm sorry, I'm not being rude. I'm just working on some stuff right now. I've just been really busy. Hope you're keeping well. And just leave it at that. You don't want to, you don't want to be getting back to him and any of that real quick. So in that time, you're going to reinvent yourself internally, which is the most important bit, because when we shift internally, we're going to shift naturally externally. You're going to do some external work. You're going to get your colors done, which means the colors that suit your complexion. You're going to redo your hair. You're going to literally become a chameleon and shift and change into the better. Back, it is a completely different relationship. So at that point, he can meet the new, more high value, way more feminine, knows what she wants woman. And in most cases, you probably won't want him back. But if you do, you are in the best state of mind, heart, and position to actually turn it around. I'm hoping this video was really very helpful to you. I look forward to seeing you on my next one. Don't forget to visit chengi'sworld.co.uk/shop, where I am uploading courses every single month. And right now I'm working on 2 courses. One is the Reattraction course, how to get your ex back. This is one of the most incredible courses that I've worked on. It's going to have workbooks, it's going to have text samples. It's really going to give you my best work on reattraction, and some of the things that I've mentioned in here will be in that course. It's gonna be off the chain, and that will be available early March, so keep an eye out on my socials. And if you want to be updated when it does come out, do join my mailing list by downloading my ebook, The Ultimate Guide to Finding Love, or 4 Simple Steps to Finding Love. Everything's in the description link below, and then you'll be added to my newsletter and have a really good time to read how to actually attract love. So it's a 2-in-1, and I will be informing you when that is out and if there are any special discounts, etc. So I look forward to seeing you. And then of course in April we'll be having a live masterclass on emotional mastery. So much is going on in Chengi'S world, and I'll be announcing a lot of massive changes going on, and I am hoping that they will be the best and best serving to all of you. Take care, and thank you for watching. I'll see you on my next video. In the meantime, take care of you. Bye bye now.